This one is a hot take. Tina. Bowser isn't as hot as others think. I rest my case. Bullshit. Wrong. Wrong. Hot take. I mean, this is a hot take in that it's hot. Horse shit. Bowser's king. Bowser is the king. Bowser's handsome. Bowser's sexy. Bowser's dismissive, but like emotionally in a way that kind of draws me in. Like he's emotionally unavailable and I feel like I can fix him kind of way. I like his null because even with a null, he's still got like a bulge there, which means he could have a slit. Like, he's giant, he's big, he's cute. Now he's voiced by Jack Black, which is even better because I kind of like always had a crush on Jack Black because who doesn't? Because he's awesome. I disagree. Or maybe I should do why the fuck did you say that? So, Chad, today is hot takes.
Swear to God, if you don't stop, I'll give you.
We're reacting to your hot takes.
There.
So, the hot take here, but from Whispers. Furry music does not equal a furry musician. And I think what they're saying is that, like, if I were to write a song that caters to the furry community, it doesn't make them a furry musician. I'm guessing that Whispers referring to, like, they make music that caters to the furry fandom sometimes, but that doesn't make them an exclusively furry musician. Like, they made Foxboy is the name of one of their songs that is clearly furry coded, but doesn't necessarily put them in a box to say that they are a musician who is a furry. Root beer is trash, full stop. No good root beer exists. Not Barks, not A&W, nothing. It all tastes like pure vile. That is a hot take because what the fuck? How can you drink other sodas but think root beer tastes like shit? I don't understand it. Do you like Dr. Pepper? Like that is bullshit. Root beer is delicious, and it's tangy and sweet, and it's got a little spice to it. It changes up the mix. It goes wonderful with like ice cream. Obviously, root beer floats. It's like something you would only get at like a fair or a baseball game, somewhere like you don't normally go. You know, it's not like an all the time soda. It's like special event soda. That's crazy. My dad makes homemade root beer. I take personal offense to this one. Basically, what Labraduper is doing is shitting hot diarrhea loads all over my dad's head, and I can't have that. Oh shit, we get a reboot one. Okay. Belief in any variety of benevolent God should be categorized as a mental illness. This is a hot fucking take. I'm not touching that. That's spicy. I don't know what to say. Benevolent God equals mental illness. Agree or disagree? So here's what makes this a hot take and why I actually am going to opt to disagree. Because making that generalization is too broad. People can believe in God as a result of mental illness, but it's not exclusively, and I would say not the majority of the reasoning behind it. What it does is kind of belittle true mental illness, like a diagnosable imbalance of chemicals that need to be regulated by a health professional. Mental illness is a science. It is a form of medical treatment, getting a chance to fix it, and thus believing in God is not a medical condition. It is not a symptom, a direct physical symptom. If anything, if somebody believes that they're seeing God, they might have schizophrenia of some capacity, but just the general belief in God is not a basis to establish mental illness. This is a fantastic hot take. Y'all, this is the shit that really sparks conversation. And recognize, like we just said, separate the art from the artist. I don't think Reboot is going to die on the hill of saying if you believe in God, you have a mental illness. I think that for the sake of a hot take, they made a statement as a way to like spark a conversation. So don't hold anybody to this. I feel like everyone should latch on to whatever gives them hope. Like, life is fucking hard. And you know, I go back and forth with my sister about this because she's a devout Christian to the point where like she goes on mission trips to like other countries, which I think is really, I think pushing a religion on another country's culture is toxic, but regardless, she's that devout, but she gets so much happiness from the sense of community and this direction that believing in something gives her. And as much as I believe it's supporting an institution that has trivialized people for centuries, life is really fucking hard and it gets dark at times, and you know, we all reach for some sort of shining light to guide us through those dark moments. And for a lot of us, it's, music. A lot of us, it's friendship or family. A lot of us, it's isolation. And for some people, it's believing in a god or gods. Okay, pineapple. This is a good one because we talk about this one a lot, and I will die on this hill. Pineapple belongs on pizza. I like my pizza sweet and salty. If you allow sardines, we allow pineapples, damn it. That is such a good take. Now, the pineapple one we talked about a lot, but the sardine one is a great point. Like, literally, they'll put sardines on the pizza and then be like, you're so weird at putting pineapple on it. I'm like, you put a tiny bait fish, okay? Like, we can eat actual food, and we don't have to eat your rotten little fish that is just caked in salt. If you were that vehemently against putting pineapple on pizza, I just assume your palate is unrefined. That, like, you're a chicken tendy at the restaurant type of guy. That you're, like, I get my burgers plain type of guy. I don't get sauce on my chicken wings type of guy. Like, that's what I'm seeing, you know? Buttermilk ranch plus pepperoni pizza, yes. Ranch with pizza. Put sauces on top of your pizza. Like, drizzle some, like, honey mustard. Dip your pizza in buttermilk ranch, dude. Go ham. I am a sauce fiend. I just love sauces. I have, like, my go-tos. I have, like, a truff hot sauce. I love Cholula, sriracha, honey mustard, barbecue, ranch. Oh, this one's such a good one because I agree with this. Hot take. I hate Breath of the Wild. I grew up with Zelda games. And Minish Cap is my absolute favorite game of all time, but I don't enjoy the 3D Zelda games, especially with weapon durability. I hate Breath of the Wild. I don't hate it, but I did not like Breath of the Wild. I don't think it was that good. I think that people put it too high up on a pedestal because the bar was so low prior. Like, think about what Zelda's pre-existed the 3D Zeldas. I mean, we're talking, like, 2D side-scrolling. Like, the bar was so low. It just came down to, like, plot at that point. There really wasn't much in many other components to it. And then they finally made a fully fledged actual game that kind of made sense to spend like money on, and people blew their fucking minds. Meanwhile, what is it really? An open world or an open world RPG with, like, a lot of, like, side quests and secrets and things like that. I mean, we've all played Skyrim. Okay, this one is an incredibly hot take, and it's very controversial. If you want something more philosophical, I think gene splicing and selective breeding for humans should be legal and common practice. Obviously not in the way Hitler wanted. I wish I was bred or altered with better genes and placed in a society of healthy, productive humans. Interesting conversational points to be had about it, though. Like, how do you get a society to agree with it? Who picks what's a good gene for species to pass on? Like, good memory over looks. Where does gender come into it? I think that... Okay, my opinion is that, one, this is an incredibly hot take. Selective breeding is a gateway. Even from a scientific standpoint, it's a gateway for discrimination, for... Basically, what it's saying is, like, you can avoid illnesses and disabilities if you're rich enough. And instead, what we should be doing is finding better ways to integrate people who are born with disabilities and illnesses into society to be accepted for who they are and not by their limitations. Because like, we should be celebrating those, not trying to get rid of people who are like that. I think it's a bad gateway, and therefore I disagree. I think that everybody who's being born currently deserves to be who exactly they are. Not deserves to feel pain or not deserves to feel, but they are valid in their existence, and we should be better as a society to cater to their needs and their acceptance instead of just finding a way to write them out of history. People keep preaching about true free speech, but it should absolutely never exist. There are things that should completely be reprimanded or prohibited from being said or expressed. True free speech only gives space for more people to get attacked by simply existing. I disagree. So I think we should all have free speech. Everybody should be able to speak their mind and say whatever they want. But I think that the consequences should be concrete, swift, and decisive based on what is said. I think it's easier to say you can say whatever you want, but if you say the N-word, and it's publicly if you say the N-word, you shouldn't deserve to have a space in public opinion, you know? I think the consequences that come off of it should be severe, should be monitored, should be controlled, in a way that gives people an experience to match the caliber of what they said. You know, if you say a slur, be treated like a fucking asshole, you know? Like, oh no, you can say that, but now we all hate you and you can't get a job. You know, like, I think that where we have it is where it needs to be. I just think that we prioritize the wrong things. We talk about the furry community being an open and inclusive community, but similar to the queer community, there are issues of racism, sexism, transphobia we don't notice or talk about. Yes, absolutely. I mean, this goes with like any the queer community also discriminates against fellow queer people. A lot of the queer community hate the middle ground areas. They think that bisexuality is like a cop-out for people who can't decide on a gender, like, or they don't want to fully commit to being queer. So there's bi erasure, there's trans erasure for like gay individuals who think that like trans stuff, like people, because gender expression and sexuality are two different things. Your sexuality being gay does not necessarily reflect on your gender expression, on who you are. So gay people who are cis gay people will still belittle the trans community because they don't understand what that is, what gender expression truly means. So I agree that the furry community has some rampant issues that I've experienced a lot, especially recently, in general of disrespect towards people that are different from them. The furry community as a whole loves to boast that it is far more accepting than standards, than normie society, and it is, because we have a much bigger percentage of queer individuals, people of color, and general social outcasts or socioeconomic outcasts that otherwise don't have anywhere else to land, and they land in this community, but there are bad eggs in the furry community that think they're doing a good thing for the community by being like internet police, by feeling like they can only exist to create opposition with others. It is the furry fandom is still predominantly like passingly masculine in its nature, which means, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard friends say like, oh my god, vaginas are disgusting. Well, you know, that sucks, because that's a part of a human body of somebody that, one, when they're born, couldn't control what genitals they're gonna get, and two, might be insecure about what genitals they have based on their gender expression, and three, it's just a human component that we shouldn't be having an opinion on, especially if you don't have one and it's not yours. So, like, yeah, that type of sexism, awful. The transphobia, there's still conservatives in the furry fandom. They exist. I got the "you don't seem gay" comment from my parents a lot when I came out. Yeah. And then they are therefore inclined to think it's a phase or something. But yeah, I'd say this is a really good hot take, and it's very true, and people don't like to accept that it's true. But my god, I have faced almost just as much bullying in the furry community as I experienced outside of it. At least outside the furry community, eventually the world kind of forgets about you. Like, I stopped talking to my high school friends and my college friends, and I just built a life around who I am now, and I surrounded myself with people, and I was less likely to be like bullied by those types of people. But now that I'm a furry, and I live my life on the internet as a content creator, I've opened myself up to so much more criticism, and it has been tough. It has been more than I've dealt with before I joined the fandom. VR chat is just a big dating app. No matter what reason you enter VRC, you'll eventually either end up a horny fox with a dom boyfriend or a dom with a bratty fox clinging to you. Yep. That is a great hot take. That VR chat is nothing but a vague, like, sex simulator. Like, it simulates social situations to get people into a mood or a setting where they can express their sexuality. I think that this is a glorified digital bathhouse. Not exclusively, but I think that the argument could be made for the sake of hot takes. And I'll put it one further. If you're a VR streamer, if you're a furry VR streamer, if you do VR chat and you're a furry and you stream, it is inevitable that you will use a Rex avatar to make a thirst trap piece of content. Every single VR chat streamer I know has put out a tweet, a TikTok, a video, a stream being a Rexium avatar that has a slightly, like, just across the TOS line of, like, bulging underwear, like a jock strap and a harness, and they got glowing eyes, and it's just like some Rex thirst trap. And it is like you either quit being a streamer or you stay in the game long enough to become a Rexium user. That's kind of what I'm getting at. If you were offended by this, I've done it too. We're all guilty of it, but it's something that I think happens all the time, and no one ever really mentions how common it is. Common it is. This one is good. This one actually kind of makes me think of the whole idea of, like, separating the artist from the art. Because you like something from a company that did shady stuff doesn't make you a bad person. You can like Hogwarts or any Blizzard game you want. You shouldn't be hung up on that. Most companies do something shady, and it isn't fair for someone to ridicule someone else just because they don't have the same ideology as you. If you choose not to spend money on certain things, that's fine. Just leave others alone because they don't have the same moral compass as you. You must make your own clothing if you care that much. Yes. You know what? I agree. Separate the art from the artist. Play whatever the fuck you want, because let's be real. You as a consumer have much less power than you think. Usually these companies are run by investors that are using money that's not even real, and it's gonna be whatever they produce is gonna whatever they like. We talked about this yesterday. Whatever, like a large corporation, let's say Apple, or Tesla is the perfect example for this. It does not matter what their products are. The margins on making their cars are terrible. It's a shitty car to begin with. The products don't matter. Giving your investors a promise that that your timeline will be met, that your profit margins will be hit, and that your release schedule is on point, like all of those things, so that they will be given money by these lobbyists and by these like hedge funds and shit and investment funds. Investment banks, like they are the people that they're trying to impress, and they're gonna get their money one way or the other. By the time the product comes out, it almost doesn't even matter. They are already set up for success. It's the whole idea behind the too big to fail colloquialism. But yes, I agree. Separate the art from the artist. Blizzard's already gonna be a success. Whoever developed Hogwarts is already gonna be a success. It's a fucking Hogwarts franchise. Like, it doesn't need us. It doesn't. I think that you should be able to play whatever the game you want. Now, I also think that if you're going to publicly back it, have your explanation as to why, and understand, and you know, have your own moral compass to stand by. But like, I think if like, I played Diablo 4. Blizzard sucks as a company, and I don't support their practices. And I don't think that me playing Diablo 4 is of concern to everyone who wants to make us think about it, when they could be spending that time helping and giving back to the community twice-fold. If they stopped wasting their breath trying to try to reprimand others and be internet police, they could just go to for the half the amount of effort they put into crafting these crazy like cancellation attempts, they could just go to a soup kitchen for like a couple hours and do a lot more good.